NASA was never expecting to make this discovery. Let me explain. Let's start off with some background information. On October 15th, 1997, NASA launched their Cassini-Huygens mission to Saturn. Now, this mission was a big deal because it would be the first time a spacecraft would ever orbit Saturn. There had already been previous missions to Saturn, such as Pioneer 11, Voyager 1, Voyager 2. The key difference was those spacecraft were on flyby trajectories that basically didn't have enough fuel for them to slow down once they got at their destination, so instead they could only fly by Saturn, which is why an orbiter was needed in order to get more of an in-depth understanding of Saturn, because an orbiter can stay at Saturn for years and study it for a much longer period of time than one day. Additionally, because NASA sent their Galileo probe to orbit Jupiter around the same time, there was a big argument being made that because Jupiter has an orbiter, Saturn should have one too. Cassini-Huygens was a massive partnership between NASA and the European Space Agency, with NASA building the Cassini orbiter and the European Space Agency building the Huygens lander that would land on Saturn's moon Titan. That is why this mission is referred to as Cassini-Huygens. Cassini-Huygens was a massive spacecraft standing at over 3 stories tall and to date is one of the largest missions ever sent. Because of this, it was crucial that NASA find a way to get Cassini to Saturn with the least amount of fuel needed, so they used a method called the gravity assist in order to get Cassini to Saturn. A gravity assist is essentially when a planet's gravity pulls you up to speed with the planet, and basically, relative to the planet, you're remaining the same speed, but relative to the sun, your velocity is increasing. So Cassini flew by Venus twice, Earth once, and then flew out to Jupiter where it got another gravity assist to give it enough velocity to reach Saturn. Once at Saturn, Cassini conducted an engine burn that basically slowed it down so that it wouldn't fly away once it was at Saturn, thus capturing Cassini into a Saturn orbit on July 1st, 2004, almost 7 years after it left Earth. In December of that year, Cassini deployed the Huygens lander. A few weeks later, Huygens arrived at Saturn's largest moon Titan to begin its descent to the surface. To this date, that became one of the most distant landings away from Earth. After Huygens' successful landing at Titan, Cassini began its next part of its journey, touring the moons of Saturn, revealing them in never-before-seen detail. In this time, Cassini flew by what appeared to be an icy moon called Enceladus, and little did NASA know Cassini would actually make the discovery of a lifetime, discovering that Enceladus beneath its icy surface has an entire subsurface water ocean. This immediately prompted the Cassini team to reschedule the entire mission to make sure that there were more Enceladus flybys. These next flybys definitely did not fail to amaze. Here are some geysers that Cassini discovered on Enceladus' surface, spewing liquid water. Cassini also discovered that Saturn's E-ring formed because of these geysers on Enceladus. My favorite instrument on board Cassini was the Cosmic Dust Analyzer, and basically this was designed to be able to study dust particles out by Saturn on the Cassini spacecraft. Never did they have the intention that they could actually use this to study geysers on Enceladus because they didn't expect them to be there. So when Cassini flew through one of these geysers, they were able to study its composition. Unfortunately for the Cosmic Dust Analyzer, because they were not anticipating there to potentially be geysers at Saturn, it was not designed for that, so it could only tell the composition, it couldn't tell you if there's life inside the geysers. Unfortunately for Cassini, partially because of its own discovery that Enceladus could potentially carry life, we had to destroy Cassini once it got low on fuel. So we burnt up Cassini into Saturn because potentially bacteria could have hitchhiked a ride on Cassini, and because of its temperature-stable environment inside of Cassini, the bacteria could have very well survived the entire journey, and if Cassini in the future crashed into Enceladus, then future scientists wouldn't know if the life on Enceladus was because of Cassini or because of Enceladus. Before Cassini met its fiery fate in the atmosphere of Saturn, it actually looked at the horizon of Saturn where it could see Enceladus right on the edge, saying goodbye to it one last time before it met its fate. If you find this type of stuff interesting, feel free to like and follow for more content.